That's strong.
Thank you. Do we have any recognitions this evening? It looks like we do.
Yes, thank you, Chair. The Skills USA framework illustrates how students fulfill the mission of the organization to empower members to become world-class workers, leaders, and responsible American citizens by its impact on the lives of America's future workforce through development of personal, workplace, and technical skills that are grounded in academics. The Bangor School Department and the Bangor School Committee to recognize Jasmine Roy as a gold medal winner for the category of job interview at the 2024 Maine State Leadership and Skills Conference. Congratulations, Jasmine. I'd like to bring up Mr. Mark Hackett to share a couple words. And Mark, I want to thank you for all that you do for students. I really appreciate what you do. What you do is very relevant. So thank you for all that you do. And if you wouldn't mind saying a few words, and we'll bring up Jasmine.
I'd love to talk about Jasmine. So this year we had 8 people competing in Skills USA, and Jasmine won the gold medal, obviously. But I thought she might because she won it last year also. She also finished 6th in the country, which is amazing because there's one from each state. So Mr. Butler goes, "How are we gonna do?" And I said, "You know, I really don't know, but I think we should do all okay with Jasmine because she's already won it." So it's neat. It's like going to a sporting event when you're seeing students doing their skills that are academic skills also. I couldn't watch the interview one because it's not a spectator sport. But anyhow, so they went through and they give the awards that night. They put it all together in a hurry, and no Jasmine. And I go, must have had a bad day or was sick or something. I didn't know what happened, but I thought, okay. I didn't really worry about her because she's so talented. And so a few days go by, and then I get a call from UTC and said that they wanted me to come over to an event. I didn't know what it was. And the Skills USA committee had found out they made a mistake. And it was a big mistake because out of 1,000 points, she scored 995.5 points, which is the highest scores they've ever had. So they held a little ceremony over UTC where they had her classmates come down. I was there, it surprised me also. And they said they made a mistake and she won the gold medal. And what's neat is, and I do love this about them, they said they're pretty tough. So they've given someone else a gold medal, which was really second place. It was all down one. They said when they scrolled on the computer to award the medals, they scrolled past her score. So that's the way he explained it. And I go, oh, they're probably gonna have 2 people from the state of Maine go to represent them in the nationals. And no, they let her keep a gold medal, but they said, Skills USA said only 1, you only get 1. And it's the person that should be, it's the one who won it, which is Jasmine. So I'd like to call her up and maybe she'll give you a few words too, but what I think is she was 6th last year. We're hoping she can do better than that this year. So Jasmine, would you come on? Yeah.
Yeah.
You all want to come up?
Yeah. Can you get out of the
Yeah,
picture?
we want to get a picture.
Yes.
Mr. Hackett, can you feel- yeah, picture. You guys can come right here.
Sorry.
Mr. Butler, would you stand next to Mr. Hackett?
You can have a picture on it.
I think a bunch, just.
Oh, yeah.
You want to get a picture too, Bob?
That's all.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. And we have another recognition.
Yes, we do. It's the EMME Student Recognition Award. The Bangor School Department and the Bangor School Committee would like to recognize Amanda Tomlinson for being named the 2024 Maine State Educators for a Multilingual Maine Student of the Year. Amanda was nominated by the World Language Teachers Lily Crane and Kathy Rice for this recognition based on her exceptional performance in the World Language Department and her outstanding contributions to the school community. With an impressive 4 years of Chinese language studies, 2 years of American Sign Language under her belt, Amanda's dedication shines through. We congratulate Amanda on this well-deserved recognition and wish her continued success in future endeavors. Congratulations. I'd like to bring up Ms. Lily Crane and Ms. Kathy Rice to say a couple of words. And to both of you, thank you for all that you do. I know that Bangor High School leads the state in biliteracy. I thank you for what you do for our students. Our World Language Department is one of our best, so I appreciate what each of you all do, and I'd like for you to say a few words about our students.
Excellent. We are so pleased to be here today to celebrate this achievement with Amanda and her family. So thank you all for being here. I was going to say a little bit about Amanda before we present her with her certificate. She has taken it upon herself to challenge herself with the rigorous academic curriculum throughout her high school career. She has chosen to take 4 years of Chinese. Such a fantastic job that she was awarded the Seal of Biliteracy, which is a standardized test that she has taken. It's the advanced stamp assessment, and she did that in her junior year after 3 years of instruction. So that is quite an amazing achievement. I've also had her in ASL for 2 years, where she has just been an outstanding student as well, and she will receive the World Languages ASL Achievement Award for that later this year. We are very, very proud of her for the academic excellence she has shown in our World Languages program at Bangor High, and so thrilled that she has been chosen to receive the 2024 Student of the Year Award from the state of Maine by Please join me in congratulating Amanda for being a recipient of this prestigious award. Yeah. Now, Amanda has chosen to share her ASL talents with us, if you'd all like to see that. Earlier this year, we had the Poetry Out Loud competition here at Bangor High School. And she performed the caterpillar in ASL. So she will share her talents with us now, and we can appreciate all that she has to offer. I don't know where the best place to stand is, but my mom wants to be first. If anybody wants a great view, come on over here. Awesome. That was amazing. And tomorrow, tomorrow you'll be taking this, the seal by the Oh, it's great. I will not walk about it.
Thank you.
That was no danger.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. So next, do we have any adjustments to the agenda?
No adjustments, Chair?
So next, we are moving to public comment, and I will read our prepared statement. Members of the public may address the school committee for up to 3 minutes on school and education matters. Public comment shall be directed to the school committee and be brief and non-repetitive. The school committee's practice is not to respond or debate with speakers during the public comment period. We are here to listen. The superintendent or his staff will follow up on comments outside the meeting as appropriate. The committee will not permit profanity or shouting and request that speakers do so. Discussion of specific personnel or student matters and complaints concerning specific employees or students will not be allowed, but will be addressed through established policies and procedures. Before speaking, we encourage speakers to review the school committee policy A.C., which provides that the committee does not and will not discriminate nor tolerate discrimination against students or employees on the basis of membership in a protected class. Speakers who share comments contrary to this policy will not be allowed to continue. Before starting, please state your name and place of residence. Do we have any public comment tonight? No? Okay. Next, we have superintendent's proposals and updates.
Okay, action item 1A, Penobscot River Education Partnership Interlocal Agreement. I'm recommending the Penobscot River Education Partnership Prep Interlocal Agreement for Educational Service Center be approved substantially informed, presented at this meeting, and that the Bangor School Department enter an agreement and become an initial member of PrEP established by said agreement, subject to the approval of said agreement by the Commissioner of the Department of Education.
And will we see a presentation or we just go to a vote?
You go right to the vote.
All right. So can I get a motion to approve?
So,
Second.
Any comments or questions? Kim? I'm sorry, member Surratt.
I'm just curious, how is this arrangement different than what our previous arrangement, or is there a difference?
Yeah, there is some difference. I'm going to kind of go over reading through the contract, and I've heard this a couple of times presented. I believe it is a good thing for us to agree to. We would still have a liaison over Spruce. We still would select and hire the personnel. We would have, and we would have no, it would have no impact on our budget unless the enrollment cost goes up for students that are going to BRP. The executive board would be made up of superintendents, which we already have that now. We would not have a Spruce board, which I think in some ways is a good thing, because sometimes it was hard to get a quorum, so I think that would be okay too. And as far as prep, the difference that you would see is this. It's a new educational service center, which allows for group negotiation. So for example, we're negotiating with Sear Bus, and we could work with a couple of other districts, maybe lower the price, as well as other items that we could purchase together. We've got a lot of background knowledge from James Stoughton and Dave Walker. They were here since kind of the beginning of this. They've suggested that we do this, and I don't see a reason why we would not.
Thanks.
Member Biden?
Thank you. I do think that the shared resources is going to be a really great opportunity for all of our districts to be able to work together with these two entities, becoming one. My question is about BRP. Will this combined group oversee BRP? How will that look?
We still would have a director of BRP, which is presently Dan Mayo.
Yeah.
We still We would do all the hiring. We do all the work with BRP. We could have a liaison, or it could just be Dan, running it at this point.
Okay, because it was I thought Spruce was almost the acting board of BRP.
Well, you'd have a board, the superintendents would be a board that would be meeting and voting on things that would come forward, such
That
as the
would still
budget.
remain the same.
Yes,
Okay,
but it
okay,
would not be the board would be made up of superintendents. That's the difference. And we
Okay.
already do that now too. We usually have 2 votes. The superintendents go through it and then the Spruce
Understood.
board.
Thank you for clarifying.
So it would all be under pro.
Okay, thank you very much.
Questions? All in favor?
It passes 6-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to informational items. First item we have is the Regional Climate Action Plan.
Yes, Madeline Jensen from the Bangor Area Comprehensive Transportation System, BACS, BACTS, will present to the committee an overview of the Regional Climate Action Plan. Maddie is the project manager for this plan. Welcome, Maddie.
Hi, everyone. Hello.
Maddie.
I have a presentation prepared. I'm not sure.
I don't think we received it. You send it to me off.
Yeah, I also have it on a flash drive. Is that
That
okay?
would be fine. If
Okay.
you want to bring it on.
Word, PowerPoint.
There's a couple on there that I should say. While that's getting pulled up, I'll just introduce myself again. My name's Maddie and I'm a planner with BACS. Very briefly, if you we are one of 4 federally designated metropolitan planning organizations in the state. So we largely focus on transportation and helping the towns in this region coordinate funding coming from the federal government, working with Maine DOT, making sure that the public is involved in those sorts of planning decisions. We're also the project manager for this project.
Send it up real quick. I'm gonna grab a clicker for you.
Thank you. So yeah, today I wanted to introduce you, if you're not familiar with Penobscot Climate Action, kind of give you an overview of the elements of the project that I think are going to be most relevant to the school. This is certainly not all encompassing. There's many, many pages of documents with great information and great recommendations. As the plan is largely focused on the municipalities and what sorts of actions that the towns can take at their kind of municipal context. However, it's really kind of expanded and there's a lot that the schools can do, other institutions like University of Maine, businesses, the public, it's kind of really expanded a little bit more broadly. And so I am happy to answer questions as we're going through this, if you need clarification, and of course at the end as well. Thank you. So to begin, what is Penobscot Climate Action? It's a regional community-led planning initiative to help us figure out what is changing, what we can expect to be changing from climate change, and help us identify who in our community and what infrastructure is at risk from those changes. And then also to allow us to develop strategies that can help us address those vulnerabilities and reduce our greenhouse gas emissions in line with state and federal goals. And so on our project management team, it's BACS, the City of Bangor, Town of Orono, and University of Maine. So we're the ones kind of leading this initiative. However, a lot of the towns in this region that are BACS members, from Old Town, Milford, down through Brewer, into Hamden, Herman, all these sorts of towns along the Penobscot River have participated. We've also really prioritized community involvement. The lovely Katie was an integral part on our advisory committee throughout the process, making sure that we were including all the right people and kind of keeping the overall goals of the project in mind. Here's just a quick view of the towns that we included in this regional effort, which is somewhat unique in the state, actually. Thank you. So going into a little bit more detail on some of the aspects that I think are most relevant for the schools. Our vulnerability assessment identified a number of hazards that we anticipate becoming more and more significant in the region, rising temperatures being one of the main ones. There's a kind of quote on here that states that by late century, by 2085, we're expecting this region to experience up to 3 weeks a year of 100 degrees temperatures or more,
which is obviously not something that Mainers are really used to, or in many cases, our buildings infrastructure is not prepared for that level of heat. And so obviously impacts to the schools being potentially higher costs for cooling the schools, or the cost of upgrading or adding AC to buildings that don't already have it. Potentially looking at students experiencing like heat effects from afternoon practices or walking home, as well as maybe in a future having cancellations of school due to high heat rather than just snow, snowstorms. And so really kind of important that we're starting to think about these impacts now, because addressing these issues and preparing our infrastructure for it is costly and can take a lot of time. So we want to be thinking about this now. And so kind of some main recommendations from the climate action plan that came out to address this is conducting energy audits of our buildings, figuring out where we can improve efficiency, and then looking at how we can retrofit our buildings to, for all different temperature issues, but mainly most relevant to the region is and improving our cooling systems. And one thing we also wanted to highlight for the schools is the benefit of working with the municipalities. In many cases, there is a lot of benefit to collaborating and sharing resources. And there are many examples out there of bulk purchasing. The municipality can go after larger quantities of these sorts of like retrofit systems that the school might be able to partner with as another major building landowner in the region. So thank you. Another major vulnerability that's going to be relevant for the region is increasing intensity and frequency of storms, and therefore leading to flooding. We are obviously already seeing flooding right now, but we're expecting that to ramp up in the future. On the bright side, school buildings themselves are not super vulnerable to the floodplain and to flooding in general. However, students and staff in their homes or in their commutes to school will most certainly be impacted. And so that can lead to issues with their commute. It can lead to electricity or communications disruptions. I actually had 2 meetings with a student organization here, and both times they were canceled. One, I think, due to the power going out, and another to a storm. And so definitely relevant. Also in an interview that we had with school staff earlier in 2022, we heard that supply chain disruptions are already impacting the school. We would expect that to increase, especially on a global scale, as climate change impacts start to become more severe. And so recommendations for that is to prepare resilient energy systems. So perhaps for the school that looks like pursuing renewable energy on school, or storage, or some sort of backup system, so that when the power goes out, maybe there's a way to continue holding school, or at least hold it long enough that you can get students home safely. And then also adopting resilient land management practices. So school is a major landowner in the region, and there are plenty of things that the school can do to be more sustainable in their land management practices to help mitigate the effects of flooding for the whole city. Thank you. And so next I wanted to go over our greenhouse emissions inventory. The state, the nation, the world has goals for reducing greenhouse gas emissions in order to, in the long term, hopefully mitigate the effects of climate change and slow things down. And so the state of Maine and the city of Bangor actually have adopted a goal of reducing our greenhouse gas emissions by 45% by the year 2030 and by 80% by the year 2050. And so this kind of graph, which is a little bit hard to see, I realize, shows how the different strategies that we've recommended through this plan, as well as some of the more major state and federal programs, can impact our overall emissions and us reaching that goal. As you might be able to tell, those horizontal lines show the goals for 2050 and 2030. And in the assumptions that the model made, which certainly can change, we're at about 73% reductions by 2050 rather than 80. So a little bit short in the assumptions of this model, but I think that really just called attention to the importance of acting quickly and aggressively wherever possible. Because like I said, that the city of Bangor has passed these goals. The state has passed these goals. We're expecting down the line, more incentives to be coming out, perhaps requirements at some point for energy efficiency or, other goals, to bring these emissions down. And so some recommendations that might be relevant to the school certainly isn't all encompassing. For one, there were building retrofits that I mentioned earlier going to be really impactful, as well as supporting electrification generally. So that could be school buses electrifying or just regular maintenance equipment like lawnmowers being electrified, or the school, using renewable energy for as much of its energy needs as possible. And then finally, promoting active and public transportation. That mode shift is going to be really important, and that's something that the school can do a lot for, especially in terms of education and getting students, whenever possible, to walk to school, or helping them become educated and literate in using public transportation. We have Community Connector in the region that goes past this school all the time, and it would be great if we could get, have our students and our children become more literate in using transit, not just for the region, but wherever they may go. Thank you. And so some other kind of major community resilience-based strategies that I think are really relevant to the school is obviously our workforce, and that the school is kind of the first pipeline for getting that workforce out there. We're expecting to need more green jobs to support some of these other strategy recommendations, like installing heat pumps or doing energy audits. That requires a skilled trades resource or workforce. And so we are hoping that we can partner with the schools to help lead students into those positions, and then hopefully down the line, they will end up working with the city or with other businesses and moving this forward. And then we also have food system support. Obviously, this is an issue that everyone cares about, and I think the school is particularly impactful and on the front lines of this issue, being one of the most trusted, organizations that families come in contact with. And so any ways that the towns or other like food pantries or organizations can partner with the schools, I think would be really impactful, just more collaboration all around. And then finally, building out resilience hubs, which I think the schools naturally kind of act as in terms of helping families prepare for, withstand and recover from these extreme events. I think the schools are trusted, they're well-known, well-accessible in the community. And so if the school could perhaps consider creating some sort of emergency management plan to be a place that families can go in these extreme conditions, or providing more resources, to pointing people to municipal resources, or however that might look, I think that would be really impactful. Thank you. Almost done here. I just wanted to point out some of the major barriers and opportunities that we identified in this process that are not necessarily direct climate action recommendations. Largely that, unsurprisingly, the region is strapped for capacity, both financial and staff capacity, to address these things. And one sort of idea or hope that something that comes out of this process is that we work together more and share resources, whether that be bulk purchasing to save money and help things move along quicker, or communicating more frequently to make sure that we're not letting anyone fall through the cracks. It's definitely kind of a big effort, and one that I think we all want, but I would like to see more proactive approaches to making us communicate and collaborate more so that we can utilize our resources as best as possible. That kind of brings us to our idea, or our proposal is we are looking to create a climate action committee to move these strategies into implementation. And so we've already been speaking to the towns in the region and many of the folks that contributed and participated in this process. And we're looking to create a committee that has this sort of interdisciplinary approach, that we can have set times to sit down and talk to each other and share information, share resources, success stories. And I think that the school would be a really great partner to have on that committee. I know Katie has already given us so many resources in the preparation and planning process. And I think that the school could be a really key partner in implementing strategies and just sharing information more broadly. All right, and then last slide is just actions to get started. We're recommending that folks sit down in their own sort of context, their own kind of scope of control and make a local game plan. So maybe for the school that looks at what are our top priorities, what's feasible, what sort of barriers do we have, and figuring out what steps you all want to or can make to be making some movement on this. And then hopefully assigning a representative from the board or the committee or some sort of school staff person to be on this climate action committee. And that's all. Any questions? I know that's a lot of information.
Member Bryden?
I just wanted to start by thanking you, Maddie. I think that Maddie, failed to mention that she's been working on this with a group of people for years, and that this isn't, all of this data doesn't come just from a few quick meetings. It comes from years of community collaboration, data collection, being out in the community, surveying, everything that we talk about all the time in terms of actually working with our stakeholders and getting that community engagement. So I know that this has been a huge undertaking, and I'm excited to see that it has gone from the process of brainstorming sort of where we need to focus our efforts and what our inefficiencies are, where we're sort of failing in terms of making sure that we have a really safe future, to putting that into place. I think that this school has so many great opportunities, and I know that being a part of the planning process, we heard a lot from Orno and the student groups there and the work that they are doing to compost the food waste, to build those community gardens, to make plans, actually working with the food service department to create sort of a pipeline from gardens to the school to composting. One of the things that we hear, and I'm going to use the we collectively and say that I know we've all heard from community members who are concerned about our food, who have feedback about our food, who want better. The schools, we feed the kids, you know, in our community every day. And so making sure that we have food that people are proud of, that are healthy, that understand that our students, especially being an agriculture state, can be a part of that process is so valuable and cannot be understated. So I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited that you're sharing this. I didn't know Maddie was coming before this, so I'm not a plant. I really do think that this is really valuable work and exciting. I'm wondering, can you talk a little bit about when you said you were meeting with the student groups that were unironically canceled for climate change? Can you talk to us about what those meetings look like in terms of engaging the students and what you're looking at?
Yeah, so it stemmed from our work with the Orono High School in the composting program that they created. We're working with them right now to finalize their own sort of composting toolkit, which they decided that they wanted to do, and we've had the resources to help them create that. And so the goal with that toolkit is to teach other schools how they themselves can create their own program. The students identified that when they were thinking about it, there weren't a ton of resources out there to teach them how to do it. And so they want to do that for others in the state, or anywhere really. And so we were coming to the school to hopefully talk to, the student group about if they had any interest about composting or otherwise that we could support, or that we might be able to collaborate with the Orono High School more.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that's a really amazing contribution to have that resource. And again, just speaks to the whole value of the system in terms of the shared resources and information. So thank you for that.
Member Surratt.
Thank you. Yeah, first, I also want to thank you and thank you for the report or the presentation and all the good work you're doing and your team is doing. I was just curious, and it's related to convening a group and sort of expanding your reach in the area. Have you thought about reaching out, or maybe you already have, but connecting with institutes of higher ed in the area? I'm thinking like Eastern Maine Community College, Hudson, University of Maine at Augusta.
Yes, so Dan Dixon, who's the sustainability director for University of Maine, was a big part of our project management team, and has plenty of work going on at the university in a similar vein as this. But we also had many professors from UMaine, from Hudson, from a lot of different education institutions in the region, because they offer a lot of expertise, and they also, in the workforce vein, are going to be really integral in pushing that forward, because the towns can't do all of that themselves. So most definitely.
Yeah, and there's a really active environmental justice group, student group at the University of Maine at Augusta Bangor campus. I work there, so I think they'd be really interested in this.
Yeah.
There might be a spot for them.
Yeah, definitely.
Contribute.
We wanted to include youth or student engagement as much as possible. So actually, right now, we're working with a couple Huston classes who they're like marketing focused, and they're creating some like social media posts and flyers and brochures for us. And it's been kind of a cool student learning opportunity in that we get, promotional materials that they, do some of the work on, but they also get to learn about, working in a professional environment and creating, materials that we can actually use. And so I think, any sort of student opportunity or student group that would get engaged, I'm going around the region, talking about this. So if you have any connections,
I might be reaching out.
Okay, yes, definitely.
Thanks.
Anyone else?
Can I just jump on really quick in that same vein? UTC is doing a lot with green energy, with working on, building electric vehicles, hydroponics. Have you spoken with anyone over there?
We have not. No,
Okay.
I would really like to, but we did not have any connections with.
Oh, I got you.
Okay, great. Yes, that would be really helpful.
Okay, awesome. That's great. That's exciting. Thank you.
And just to add to that, they may be a great place too to find that workforce that you're looking for green energy installation.
Yeah.
So we'll get you.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have anything? Okay.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next we have
Yes, Chair Luciano, Social Worker Jessica Bickford will update the Committee on Suicide Awareness. Jessica, come on up. And Jessica, I want to thank you for the work that you do every day with our students. It's important work, and thank you for your presence tonight. We just talked about this yesterday, and you being here tonight, I appreciate that.
Thank you. So in compliance with Maine Law 20A, Chapter 206, subsection 4502, 5-B, it's mandated that all school districts are required to develop a plan for suicide prevention awareness education for all school personnel and suicide prevention and intervention training for certain personnel in accordance with this law. Furthermore, various staff members are assigned annual responsibilities to ensure the safety of students and staff. Annually, the Suicide Prevention Committee convenes to fulfill several of these tasks, including reviewing the latest information from MDOE, Maine Suicide Prevention Program, and NAMI. Also assessing the Bangor School Department's suicide prevention protocol and proposing any necessary revisions before the comprehensive emergency management plan in October. Potentially meeting more frequently if updates to practices and procedure are deemed necessary. The superintendent bears annual responsibilities which ensure that all new hires will receive professional development as it relates to recognizing at-risk behavior and suicide threats every 6 months of hire, and to ensure that all staff repeat the training every 5 years. The Bangor School Department requires staff to annually take the training. The initial training is presented in person by trained staff, and the annual training is for all staff. It's an online training. We are scheduled to provide this comprehensive training to all staff in the fall. The superintendent also ensures that each school in the Bangor School Department has school personnel who have been trained in suicide prevention and intervention. Persons who complete the required suicide prevention and intervention training are commonly referred to as gatekeepers. The Bangor School Department is required by law to have at least 7 gatekeepers from school personnel who have successfully completed the full day suicide prevention and intervention training. The Bangor School Department has 20 gatekeepers, and every school is covered. The Director of People Services, who serves as the district suicide prevention coordinator, is annually tasked with planning and coordination and implementation of the policy JHD, which you guys have a copy of, and then distributing the suicide prevention policy to all administrators and to the Director of Community Outreach and Safety. This policy must be included in all student and teacher handbooks. Policy JHD provides step-by-step process in suicide prevention, intervention, responses, and procedures. The Director of Community Outreach and Safety must annually update the comprehensive emergency plan utilizing recommendations from the Suicide Prevention Committee. These updates must be finalized before October. Within the Bangor School Department Comprehensive Emergency Plan, the Suicide Intervention Protocol Chart for schools, which you all have a copy of, providing guidance to staff when addressing a student displaying risk for suicide. And the Bangor School Department maintains a comprehensive array of materials and resources that addresses the diverse needs of suicide prevention and intervention, which are subject to annual review by the Suicide Prevention Committee. And additionally, suicide prevention resources are readily available on the Bangor School Department website. Any questions?
I have a quick question. Thank you very much for that update. I appreciate it. This protocol chart, is this something that's put together in-house, or is this something that you got from a larger organization or?
It was used, using NAMI, SAMHSA resources, a variety of things from the main DOE, so it's highly vetted.
Okay, yeah, no, I just was wondering where it came from. Thank you very much.
We didn't just make it up, it does have.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have report of resignations.
Reporting the following resignations for the school year 2024-2025. Daniel Stockinger, BCBA, district-wide. Diana Wendell, special education teacher, Bangor Regional Program.
Thank you. And report of reassignments for school year 2024-2025.
I'm reporting the following teacher reassignment for the school year 2024-2025. Barbara Cluley, from grade 1 teacher at Downey School to grade 2 teacher at Downey School.
And we'll move on to business action items. First action item is approving the regular minutes of the March 27th, 2024 meeting. Can I get a motion?
So I gotta read it first.
Oh, sorry.
I'm recommending approval of the draft minutes of the March 27, 2024 regular school committee meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or concerns? All in favor?
6-0.
Next, we have the financial reports from December 2023 and January 2024.
Yeah, I'm recommending approval of the December 2023 financial report.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
6-0. Jimmy, go ahead and read that. Okay, recommending approval of January 2024 financial report.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
6-0.
And next we have personnel extra duty assignments.
Recommending committee approval of the following extra duty assignments for the remainder of the 2023-2024 school year. Elijah White, .5 assistant spring track coach, Bangor High School. Maxwell Smith, .5 assistant spring track coach, Bangor High School.
And can I get a motion?
So.
Second.
Any questions? All right, all in favor?
0, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any introduction items?
We do that.
All right, so next up we have committee updates. Do we have any comments or questions from the committee? Members, Greg.
Only a brief comment tonight. I just wanted to offer a word of appreciation for our student representatives. I remember, I think as we all do, April to June being an extremely busy time in the life of a student. And I think it speaks very well of you all to be joining us for these meetings month after month. So I've enjoyed serving alongside you both, and you've added a lot to this group, and I appreciate your perspective and appreciate you guys being here.
Anyone else? Any questions or comments right now?
I briefly just wanted to say, how moved I was by the multilingual main student of the year, Amanda. I mean, it was beautiful. Beautiful.
Yes, thank you again. I was just.
Yeah, hopefully your mom will save the video.
Beautiful. Anyone else? All right, we'll move on to committee appointees. We don't have any of those. Representative reports. Have any? No, okay. Then we'll move on to student committee member updates.
Just a couple brief announcements. Bangor High School students completed the SATs this morning, which included Sophia, if you want to.
It was great.
I forgot my calculator when I did it, so not good memory of that, but congratulations, great job to everybody who did that and good luck with the results. The talent show last Friday night was a huge success. I was able to go and watch that. You also did that,
My 2 minutes of fame.
right?
What'd you do?
I danced.
Yes. Sophia's
That-
being
that's
modest.
actually
She's like an
tremendous.
extraordinary dancer. She dances in the same company that my kids dance, but she's obviously much higher level.
I think they're group one.
We had a little
Like,
battle
right,
always,
at all.
because the guy group, they always do like a dance, and they're called Mama's Kitchen. And so we had like a little girl version called Papa's Shed. So it was like a rivalry we had going on all day. It was really fun. We made merch.
Bought it. And yeah, so very entertaining. Everyone put in great work and it was a really enjoyable night. Yeah.
Great talent.
Yeah. I saw the pictures.
Well, this Friday, the Humanities Academy leaves to France, Germany, and Switzerland,
All right.
me included. I'm so excited.
You're doing everything.
And we just wanted to wish everyone a really happy April vacation.
Yeah.
That's.
All right.
Welcome.
Okay, great, thank you. So do we have any other reports to cover?
I just wanted to say happy Eid. Those are great.
Thank you. We'll move on to information items. So just a quick note, Wednesday, April 24th is the finance budget meeting with city council at city council chambers, Enquist, 5:15. If the school committee members are able to attend, we would really appreciate that. We also, on the 24th of the same night, have our 7 p.m. regular meeting here at the Bangor Library. Wednesday, May 8th, 2024, regular meeting, 7 p.m. Bangor High School Library. Wednesday, May 22nd, regular meeting, 7 p.m. Bangor High School Library. Wednesday, June 12th, 2024, regular committee meeting, 7 p.m. Bangor High School, and the Wednesday, June 26th meeting has been canceled. Are there any other questions or comments from the committee tonight? Yes, members.
I would just like to thank Member Luciano for stepping in tonight and leading a very smooth meeting. Nicely done.
Well done. Was this your first year? Yes. Oh, yeah. I would like to second that as well. Excellent job. Right, exactly. Thank you.
Any other, oh, yes, Member Brad.
I think I could just give a real brief update on the superintendent search. We did meet as a full committee yesterday, and we've chosen semifinalists to move on for first interviews, and those first interviews will be conducted either the week of April 22nd or the week of April 29th.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Oh, second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
are adjourned.
Safe travel, Sophia. Safe travel. On your.
I guess I skip Friday.
You have to come on my time, okay?
Tell you, I could have just.